pushed him up, and then of course the microburst goes away. You've heard they do in airliners, you know. They're in your email, so I know, but
Really?
I have the ones that we had the other day. I think are the right ones, right?
I think they are, but I don't have a sign.
Good morning.
That is strange. Okay,
Just
go
one.
ahead.
I guess I ought to get, I'm gonna print 3 again so that all 3 of you guys.
So who had the job descriptions last? Who would have mailed them? And the HR, did you have an HR job description you worked
I
up? Or was
did,
that,
I had.
has it been mailed to us?
It was the first, when we had that first.
October 5th?
one. But I'll,
I didn't.
Good morning. Today is October 23rd, 2023. The time is now 9:07 a.m. I'm Kevin Day, Chair of the Custer County Board of Commissioners. We'll call this special meeting of the board to order. If you do have your cell phones, if you could silence them at this time, please. And if you would join me for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You bring the invocation.
Sure. Let us pray. Dear God, our Heavenly Father, we thank you for all our blessings. And we ask you to please bless this meeting of the Custer County Board of Commissioners. Strengthen us with wisdom, patience, kindness, and goodness so that we can solve all the perplexities, problems, and choices that come before us today. We ask for your blessing and love for all our citizens of this great county. Grant us the grace to ask what thou would have us to do, that the spirit of wisdom may save us from all false choices, and that in thy light we may see light as we convene this board for and to the service of our Custer County citizens. We ask this in thy name, our Lord Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. And
It'll be
Kelly,
fine already? Oh, go ahead.
could we get a roll call?
Commissioner Day,
Present.
Commissioner Campbell.
Here.
Commissioner F.
Present.
And clerk to the board, Clayton, for present.
And our audience introductions, we'll start with you.
Lisa Bivens, Finance and HR. Jen Huckman, Assistant to Finance and HR.
Did a fine job.
Good job.
You hit on the block.
You like how I sprung that on you? All right. Pass the test number one, let me know that. Any amendments to the agenda, gentlemen?
No.
All right, none here. Okay, we have no unfinished business. First item of business would be our discussion consideration of BOCC Administrative Assistant PIO position.
Before we started, do we have we have the HR one as well? Because I don't see it. There, I'll get you a copy of this. Okay.
Oh, I gave you. Oh.
You probably sent it to me, and
No, I gave you, I made a copy of it.
I left a hard copy of the ones in the head.
Oh, okay.
I grabbed the wrong box. No, you didn't give it to me. You must have been dreaming. Not my fault.
And you know,
Things are going
sometimes it's,
crazy, I know.
I know.
Thanks, Lucas.
You're welcome.
Yes. Good.
Okay, so we do have. Then I think we're all looking at the same things. We have one entitled Executive Assistant to County Administration. We have the position title for a county PIO. And then we have one without the letterhead on it entitled Public Information Officer. Reports to Board of County Commissioners.
Yeah.
Three documents we're looking at right now.
We won't use that PIO one necessarily. We'd have to have a separate position and discuss that. No,
Okay,
I don't think so.
that's what we have in front of us.
Good.
Okay,
Okay, so it's just the two. What's the goal then? We want to get it done today so that we can get it published this week, right?
Absolutely. I mean,
And so
we'll do something.
I think that would be greatly appreciated. Is that
by
not correct?
everybody, I mean, everybody, so.
Most for me.
No, we're wallowing too. Let me tell you, you're overloaded. So, and you have I'm not gonna be there, as you know, at the VA's meeting, so you got a cutoff time here. What is it?
We probably noon, probably at the latest here, because we have a 1:30 down there.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. It should be achievable. Although we've been known to do more with less.
All right. So if we want to pull this, one here now, then the one that's the combined title. We actually don't have we've, ran with two separate job descriptions in the past, correct? We don't have a combined.
So I can
Fine.
start combining them as we go along,
Okay,
if you would like.
So what did we do? We had a PIO description, part-time, that's right.
and an admin part-time. So I guess first thing we would need to decide, are we gonna continue to have that before we go through and change or do anything? We need to decide then, are we going to make this continue to on as a part-time admin / part-time PIO? Are we gonna make it a full-time admin with PIO as part of their job description? Or is it still, is it a part-time admin?
Well, I think for now, when we first established it that way, Reggie Foster was the first PIO part-time that we had, official PIO. And that worked out pretty well. Things have gotten to be a lot more need for a PIO, but not necessarily full-time yet. We probably need to look at it. But I think we ought to start with it this way, because we've got to get Jennifer is no longer going to be part-time with OEM. So we're going to have to get a PIO, at least part-time established. And then decide at that point, when we establish, we're going to have an HR separate, which is smart, and the finance that we're talking about. I think we
Their
combine-
budget was put in for a moving her to full-time.
In January.
in January. Yeah.
If. I guess that's.
On
Decide if that's a valid deal there or not as well.
Yeah, and so talking to Robin a little bit with this St. Charles fire. You know, if that would come over into Custer County, and we would have full emergency, and both the OEM people were busy, they might not have time to also be the PIO. So separating that out and pulling that out of OEM would.
Yeah.
maybe
Then if we look at what we've had our findings and everything, the finance is important. So and then the HR, and part of finance is the grant administration. And so I see that, and I think we've discussed it, with help from the executive administrative assistant with a grant piece on that, to give her the ability to work with Lisa until we get things lined out with Gwen and Lisa together. I think it's good. So that probably needs to be a full-time PIO job at some point, and we need to separate it from here, don't you think?
No, I think we need to do that.
Separated out of the admin.
Separate it out of OEM.
Yeah, because that was never the intent.
That's right.
She's been filling in until we got something that our intent was always to keep that
Mhm.
here.
Yep, and then we
instead
can
of there.
look at it, and bring it in part-time. Get the grant going strong,
Right.
and then move PIO out of eventually.
Right, and PIO and, and grant administration, there's hopefully all that stuff doesn't hit at the same time, but we'll just have to support however we can, but
And then they can work out how you're gonna be authorities between the grant administration and you guys, and how you want to
Mhm,
work together.
mhm.
It takes the load off of you.
We need to make sure, though, that we post it, if you're gonna take on PIO. That can also involve a very heavy weekend. If we
Sure.
would have an emergency,
Yes,
right? And
That would have to be in.
and so we would need to make sure that that is definitely understood, because
it's-
that could, I mean.
And that's other,
somebody
other
going
duties
along
as
and all of a
described, all of a sudden they're out there on a Saturday,
Right,
writing stuff, which is
Right.
good. That's what we need.
And yeah, and then we can, flex those hours or whatever.
Like this weekend was a good
maybe.
example of that.
right, absolutely.
So basically, what I'm seeing, what we're discussing here now is basically what the job looked like prior to this, because
Yes,
although it was listed as a part-time admin, part-time PIO, but the admin was also doing the grant administration.
yes, and she did flex a lot. She was out
And,
on the emergencies and writing and doing things.
So do we want to still list that as two part-time jobs, or do we want to make it as a
Just,
BOCC admin, and the duties will include
I think,
grant administration and PIO?
I think that's the way it should be, because we can keep that out later, but make it a full-time position. It's
Okay.
easier to flex it. It's easier to get the benefits lined up that are necessary for the job.
Admin assistant, it would be full-time.
Mhm.
So here's the one that. It's the admin
This is the
assistant,
one that Lucas wanted me to see.
PIO, and it's got the grant administration on.
Oh,
it
okay,
as well.
where'd this come
Good
from?
one.
This one that,
Jennifer might
Jennifer
have put
worked
this
it up.
one together for us,
Oh,
off
yeah.
of everything else.
yeah, this is the right.
So, yeah, so this one's probably the most.
Yes.
Somewhat up to date. With all three of them combined.
Kevin, this is the second page to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is perfect because it's just estimated time commitments. It's 75, 25, 85, 15. That's just estimates.
Right.
Give us the flexibility.
I still think that to a certain degree, I would like to put custodial services under the BOCC admin. Only because, well, for a couple of reasons. One, I don't want any single sitting commissioner, male or female, to be over just one employee. And take any risk there out of that. And they have somebody, kind of on a, well, so the BOCC admin also orders all the supplies. So,
That's fair enough.
it seems like it'd be easier to administrate those duties through the BOCC admin instead of a single commissioner.
Are you talking? The grounds and maintenance is. As far as Dave is concerned as well.
No, not, I mean, not at this time. That's another discussion sometime to. It will,
Working with.
if Dave ever decides to retire, will he get wrapped up into our service contractor or will we then hire a full-time person that's
Yes.
over buildings and grounds and.
I
Maybe
think
that,
you gotta-
or do we want to roll that up under HR's responsibilities? I don't know.
I like the idea because. She's already ordering the supplies and she's the one that's gonna be here. It's easier to get a hold of the executive admin than it is a commissioner. And
The
then
administrative assistant is
the administrative
he
assistant.
or she.
Yeah, here.
So. Since we don't have anybody sitting in that chair right now, it could be either one.
Well, could be. It could be. It could be. I think that's not a bad thought, Lucas. It's. In
Okay,
charge of
and I
the
wanted to ask that question because both of those roles kind of look
Similar.
similar.
And they do.
To your comment,
And maybe maybe they should both be rolled up into that. I mean,
So maybe.
maybe that would make more sense that.
And I think the custodial thing, or not custodial, what do we call them, Dave? Maintenance and grounds.
Mhm.
That would be beyond that. I think that goes with a combination into operations and services.
So Lisa, correct me if I'm wrong, was the admin before taking care of the time for both of those? Correct, the cleaning services and also for Dave.
Yes,
So,
yes, they were entering.
They were entered in the computer.
so they were taking care of the time and everything for both of those.
I guess that's not
I'm,
unreasonable.
I could go either way on that, but I'm just.
But I'd hate to have Dave calling her to say, what am I gonna do about shoveling snow? I'm out of ice or something. It's a little tough. I don't know.
No, true, but then she just rolls it right up to, one of us,
commish, yeah.
whoever is there.
That's not a bad idea.
I just,
They were taking care of, she was just doing the hours.
hours, and she did,
She ordered all the supplies,
Right,
no question about that.
absolutely. I mean, because Matt Carver doesn't get the tools for,
No, that's a different,
right, that's completely separate.
separate
right?
deal
He's
under
taking
him if
care
we
of
did put it
whatever,
there.
all the buildings. But this, Dave takes care of right here, this facility, the outside of the facility though.
Yeah.
So can I raise a question?
Yes, ma'am.
So
Hmm.
if Dave needs to call somebody at 5 o'clock in the morning, do you want him calling your admin assistant or your admin assistant? Or that's where I can see it getting sort of muddled up.
Guess I'd rather him call Kelly.
Well, that's where I think if you're gonna give her the
No, that's-
responsibility,
and that's
then
it.
you'd have to
And
pay her accordingly,
Right.
and it would give her the flex time to handle that, and that would be an expectation.
Or, I mean, I don't mind calling me, the bad thing is the next commissioner in my seat. Or all of a sudden you might not have a single commissioner that resides within the town to. Where,
Doesn't have to reside in the
I've
town.
got pretty good eyes on everything that happens in town at a very early time when it snows. But the next one might not, so, I don't know. It might go with,
Well,
we might have, our admin assistant may be 5-6 miles out of town too and go. I don't know, Dave, we've got snow out here, but town might not have gotten anything too. So.
Well, the commissioner call, what are we asking the question? What's the question she's getting the call for? Is it?
Well, do I need to
The
move?
commissioner makes the call whether we're gonna shut down or.
No,
Yeah,
shut
but if
Shovels.
if you make your admin person in charge of then. Is
Oh.
that his boss?
Well, what does it mean in
Um,
charge? Does it mean in charge of buying the materials, or is it in charge of?
No, it'd be,
Time card and telling him what to do?
I think he's.
well, that
I mean,
was, I
some-
guess, that
Yeah.
maybe that's what we have to decide, right?
Mhm.
Is it just the person that rolls up buying supplies? Time card and all that, or is it that person's? Right, I mean,
contact.
they're pretty much self-sufficient, they've got a job, they go do their job, they're not.
So you're looking at that and then to go also rating, give them a
Well, it'd be a performance review.
performance review and the whole 9 yards.
Are we gonna go that route? Is that the route we wanna go?
But right
Is that
now,
what wanna
we need to do that with everybody. And if that person's reporting to a commissioner, that would be the case for that commissioner to do, and then.
Right,
So historically, what has Dave done before if it snows?
He shows up.
He shows up.
He just
shovels.
does it on his own.
He just does it.
He just says, I need to go shovel, and so he does.
Yeah.
And that's okay too. I
So
mean, he's
I
taking,
think the bigger question is, do we give that responsibility of performance reviews and things of that nature to the admin? Or does that stay with the commissioners and the admin just continue in the same role they have been in?
Just taking timesheets and ordering.
Yeah. Because that doesn't really fall under the job description of an admin.
No, yeah, I get that.
If you were gonna throw it somewhere, it'd almost be more of an HR thing.
True. No, but you're
No.
right, that's
Yeah, it
true.
would be because, then it would be, if it doesn't stay with commissioner, probably I would see it going towards, HR.
If he wanted, yeah, if he was gonna call in sick or whatever, I would have no problem having him call myself or an HR director or whoever.
Well, that's what we gotta decide.
You know, I
Is the
mean-
person in charge or not? And it's hard to split it. So that we're, in the past, it's been a commissioner. Tom was it, I think, most of the time.
I think in regards to some of that, that might look better if it was under HR. Just, you
It'd be
know,
cleaner.
doing it would be cleaner,
But why HR?
uh,
Because
that's
it's.
that's basically an HR role.
What,
doing it
shoveling
for-
snow?
No, performance reviews and.
Well, yeah,
and things of that nature, that's what we're talking about here.
What I'm talking about, you gotta have it aligned with a boss, and the HR office doesn't normally in charge of functions like that. But forget whether. Excuse me. It would be a custodial maintenance, building and maintenance job, and that would be in a big organization, that's a director of maintenance or something.
Mhm.
So
Well, regardless, the BOCC admin is going to be
I think it's gonna happen.
ordering the supplies, doing the timesheets and,
Not necessarily doing the performance reviews, and that might ought to be the commissioner.
no, in regardless of who it was, I would hope that it was a commissioner, HR and the employee. I mean,
Sure. With them, or the commissioner, the
that's the way it
admin.
should be.
Yeah.
Period. In my
Yeah, because,
humble opinion.
and that may not be how it's always been in the past, but I think so because.
Say what?
When you're getting into the reviews and things of that nature, as far as. To Lisa's point, calling in sick or whatever. So we got 1.5 feet snow on the ground and.
And the
5 o'clock
commissioner
days
has to
calling in
react.
saying, man, I can't get there today, I'm sicker than dogs.
Mhm.
We can make that,
Well, then, what I would recommend then, since we don't have an HR. Or whatever, I think we ought to leave it under you as the rater. And then put the job description for the admin to do the time cards and the materials we can.
Okay.
And when we get around to, if we decide to move it out from under a commissioner at some point, that then we'll figure out what the office might be. It might be a full-time job. I mean, if we got big buildings and we're sending that custodial guy to all the buildings.
Okay.
That's a different story.
Okay.
Might be a part-time manager or it might. be
Oh,
a
true,
full-time.
because if you would take the Matt Carver contract and the buildings and grounds, you could
Doing custodial
possibly
maintenance.
do one full-time person that would.
And the
take care of it
government,
all.
county employee full-time, to do that.
Okay, well, for the, I like the recommendation for moving forward, yeah, we just leave
And we
things as
can-
they are, and those two wrap up. The BOCC admin to do timesheets,
And or,
so they're getting done regularly,
Yeah.
how Lisa needs them
right,
done.
and then we
how-
work a concept of operations between the admin, or actually between Dave in this case, because he's the only guy right now, and the commissioner, if you're gonna get sick, call that commissioner up.
Yeah, I would be putting, and,
And the,
because if we hire a female. Custodial cleaning staff person. I'll be. Talking to that person with Lisa
Yeah.
in present, so.
sure.
Okay.
And doing the
Because
reviews.
she's
you know,
HR right now.
Yeah.
until that
or
changes.
Whoever the HR becomes.
Right, absolutely. Okay.
Yeah.
All
and
right,
I understand your concerns there.
Yeah.
yeah, I deep concerns, I want to protect everyone. involved.
Integrity.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's do that, and that doesn't change too much. We can get to the salary later after we understand all the duties.
Okay, so. Admin assistant, we'll have them doing the time and the orders for the maintenance and custodial. And we decided that's.
So is that in here now?
The revised one that
Yeah.
Jennifer submitted, yes, it is.
It has all that time card
It's on the
and,
second, it's on the second sheet, right up on the top.
There we go.
okay, there, good. Yeah, it's there, good.
Okay.
Awesome.
Do we want to look at this one then and see if it fits our needs? Just go ahead and look at this bill, or do we want to go through, because this is a hybrid. That
The
we
one that
do,
Jennifer
that's not in place, but it,
Yeah, this is the one we're doing.
okay,
Because
BOCC administrative / PIO.
Plant grant administrator.
yeah.
after reading over this as well, I think it's wordy. But it accurately describes what Jennifer did.
Okay.
That I think historically has been.
Is there a
something
slant
that
grant one on
The
here too?
BOCC admin has done, and it does talk about grant administration on it as well.
Yeah,
that's
Go
bottom
down
of
at
the
the-
first page.
bottom of the first page and then.
Yeah, that, it works.
So,
I like it.
Do we want to go through it piece by piece, or do we want to just take a look, and if somebody has a question here?
I mean, it looks excellent. You have got to take a look.
I can.
Yeah, no.
She's not used to having to read anything.
Kelly,
Kelly, you
Kelly
usually
is
bring it
probably
up.
more interactive with the BOCC admin,
Well,
the
that's
other
why I
person.
wanted to look at it because,
Sorry, Kelly.
I know, I was trying to spare you.
I humbly apologize for us. I was gonna throw you under the bus, but I decided that I thought better of it.
Why stop now? Well, no, I saw some things in here like meetings and board packets and things, and that directly affects Kelly.
We need everything is fine. What we need is to have this isn't only, see, there's other things that come up. She points out that, grant administration, she does it at the bottom, says any other grant programs administered by the BOCC, as they come in.
Stuff that affects.
So that, and if we're gonna have her performing clerical duties, there probably are other ones, other reasons, and she does that at the bottom of that one. And,
While we're talking about grants on that, then in grant administration. Because with that bottom line and any other grants programs administered by the BOCC, which is all grants. We're responsible for.
that's right.
That includes. I think at the present time, like, public health is pretty good about reporting all that stuff and everything, so that's good. Because they have the bulk of our grants, but there are some that's one of the issues we have is some of the grant reporting. Do we,
It would include all of them, even public
Yeah.
health, that she doesn't have to get into the nuts and bolts. of public
and I
health.
guess on this, we don't need to address that per se, but at some point, we need to maybe be able to give this administration person, give them enough teeth to where they can make sure that these other departments are getting their grant reports in
Well, that's a good point, and that's
on a timely.
very
manner.
good point, because that's where it was, that's how it was coming together to be. And they needed to make sure they logged it, they have to go through her so that it can be counted for. And it comes in and goes out as are being put in. in the right times.
Right places.
And I think with this one grant, facilitating the meeting that we're gonna have with Sam on the 16th.
Will help understand.
It's gonna help a lot, but I think, there's gonna be, have to have a physical checklist created. They're gonna have to hand it, this is the grant that I want and I've prepared for and I've gotten the A-OK. They're gonna have to give whoever sits in that office, in our office, a copy of that. And Kelly, yep, and then I think between
Yeah.
all of us, we can tag team these
So.
departments to
right.
make sure they're accountable.
And right, they have to be accountable. They know they're responsible to write the grant, and this person's responsible to make sure they conform with the requirements to make them acceptable.
Mhm.
And not just. She has to be that really engaged. And also, they need to understand, she's not writing the grant, but she's there to help them.
Yeah.
Do it, conform, and then
Yeah,
in the
they're not a
process,
grant writer.
they're not a grant writer. And the grant writing can be done in a lot of different ways in the department. If it's really confusing, they like, public health's got their own piece going.
Do we need, because I'm not seeing it in here, maybe I just skipped over it. Would be I guess the communication and making sure that, because in regards to grants as well as other things, making sure that the information is dispersed to the appropriate departments as well, including finance and treasurer. That's the word I was looking for.
That's critical. If the money comes in there and
you
in a
know,
lot of cases, you
because-
didn't know what it was.
Specifically on the grants, I think, but does that need to be part of this job description? Or just part of the
Probably,
duties?
because that way that this person.
This
knows
person-
They're gonna have to talk to all the departments and
So-
figure out where we're
So
at.
we need a general statement there that says responsible for the liaison between treasurer, the finance department and the departments. To track all grants. To include these administration of these below it, something to that effect. Is the primary liaison. between-
So something like grant liaison between grant writer, treasurer, clerk, finance, and board of county commissioners.
Yeah, that hits them all.
Yeah,
Because that way then they're gonna know
They have to do it.
it's not a choice.
If you left it out, you don't, the grant goes no further in some department, that box isn't checked if this person's got it. And has seen it. There has to be a process set up between them.
Mhm.
That way, there's nothing getting loose. The dates they know the deadline dates. They know when they shouldn't be trying for it, and they know if it's already failed or not.
Will this person, so this position, though, this person won't be searching for grants. That will be up to the department.
You're right, they got, and then this person can make them aware of sites, things like that, but not to go
Okay.
do the legwork,
Okay.
to go find the grants.
I don't think that would be their,
They,
yeah, I don't think that would be in their role.
and she will come across a myriad of sites probably in the process of helping them.
So if they run across information or grants, that's great. I would like to see some of our department heads be able to, and since we don't have a grant writer,
Yeah.
be able to, I think, did I not see CCI
There's grant.
is
writing
having,
workshops.
has a grant writing workshop coming up shortly, and I think I let Vince know that.
Yeah, and there's no reason in the world why we can't.
some
send
of
it to a
the-
course.
Department heads or their their administrative assistants or whatever need to be able to take these courses to help them, and I think we need to make sure that that's available.
And we need to
to people,
budget it. To make it happen.
so that they can do this, because we're tying their hands, to Vince's point from the meeting the other night. he doesn't know how to write grants. Sherry has never written any grants, and there's grants out there for him,
Yeah,
but.
and that cars group and CCI, they
Yeah.
they go through it.
And they did register for cars the other day, by the way,
Good.
so.
Get out there and know people.
So I think. Just, and I know that's a little rabbit trail compared to what we're talking about here, but I just want to plant that in everybody's ear that. I think. Not only on the grants. But some of these other deals, we have historically lacked. Training. For department heads all the way down to. Custodial.
Right,
We'll say that, and I think that we need to look at that and, help some of these people get the tools they need to do their jobs. And so.
that's right.
When some of these training situations come up. I think we need to allow, maybe that's something we look at during the budget process is maybe an item for us to provide. Monies for. Training, education.
Yeah, I think in each
Uh,
one of those departments
for-
would have it within their line, and then we just gotta make sure. that-
For this and make sure that we allow them the time to do it,
Yep,
because. We have historically says, well, here's your job. It's right here on
We'll
2
figure it
pages,
out.
go do it.
you can't make it.
And that doesn't work.
All right,
Welcome
so
to
say,
Custer County.
I know, I was like, oh, I'm so sorry.
So,
it's all right, so this is a lot better description than it was. I think we ought to have, that's perfect, Kevin, that we have to have it in the budget, and it can be it can be a pool. I'd rather have it budgeted in each department's budget. It can't be a pool that we go.
yeah, and I think so, and then,
That's all right.
but, so I think. But we need to make sure that we address that during our budget. Because, and then carry through with that.
Right,
Don't just have a line item in the budget and then not.
I mean,
And
it has to
what
be in
kind of
their
number
budget,
would
they,
encompass
but-
the kind of
Yeah.
training that
but
we
it
would like
will,
to have, you know?
but that's what we gotta make sure in the, all hands we have. Here's the new way of life. Now, if grants you guys work, we depend half our budgets, grants, you're gonna have to learn how to do them.
Right,
So in that light, then we needed the grant thing. It's for all, you need to use the word all. All grants. Up in that general header, all the liaison for all, blah, blah, blah. Same with the liaison for all county boards. It says all boards, but you need to post all agendas. In the past, Jennifer was trying to get people to post agendas. The boards weren't doing it. You gotta remember, a board is a county employee. It's treated the same liabilities. And so they need to be posted for the public. They need to be posted to keep the records.
Well, that includes the reporting on the ARPA and the
Right,
LATCF,
all.
because that's pretty major right
They
now.
let that one drop. Shoot, we didn't get them posted. We didn't get the money distributed from the elected funds, or was it ARPA? That didn't get in the budgets. At least that didn't get into the sheriff's budget. He didn't know it was there.
So,
So. And then you got what, there's another all somewhere. It just, I guess that's it. Good. Anything else on?
for some reason on one of our job descriptions, not the one we're looking at, on that education. That, E/LO 388 Advanced Public Information Officer. I have a note off to the side, that's only in Maryland. I have it on one sheet of paper here. But that's also included in this one. So I have no idea where I had that. I don't remember that
I don't
instance when
remember
I,
anything about
it's my
that.
writing.
what, which one under the education requirements?
Yeah, it would be
The first
within 1
part.
year be the E/LO 388.
Oh, okay.
And maybe that's the one
There were,
that comes, I'm not sure, there's one of these that we were requiring for the PIO position, that there was a lot of prerequisites that needed to be taken beforehand, which
think
made it
that,
very difficult to get within 1 year.
Oh,
Because of the timing of the classes and things of that nature.
what's EMI mean? Emergency Management Information.
Yeah.
So that's why it's Maryland. That's a. course.
Emergency Management Institute,
That's what it is.
Attaboy.
So,
Dr. Google.
so, and then there's the courses, the ICS, what's that,
So-
information? What's
So do we want to do that
ICS? Incident
within
command
1 year
system.
of employment? Do we want to give a little wiggle room on a couple of those if they're pursuing them like they should be, but due to scheduling
Yeah.
conflicts? How would we word that?
right,
Within 3 months, these 100 courses, they're pretty simple, from what I
Yeah, those
understand.
are all online. You can do those
The,
pretty easy.
and this would be probably in coordination with OEM, we probably ought to have in here some liaison between them, so that they're not, give them some legitimacy to work with.
Mhm.
Yeah, and some of these, they tend to go towards the emergency management
That's what all
side
this
of
is.
things, but some of the training is not specific.
Yeah,
to
we need to
emergency
find,
management. You need to have, I think some of these actually are are more inclusive to just PIO rather than emergency management.
let's go with a general statement we got it for now, or we can go get one from Jennifer. We need to find her or Reggie, a commercial. What's a general public information officer, not an emergency management public information? What is the right course to take that gives you a little bit more?
So, and I think some
And
of
a
these, from
commercial.
what I understand, I believe in one of my conversations, and that would have been with Jennifer, that one or two of these trainings is more inclusive than there to just general PIOs.
We could put it expected to, just a general statement, expected us to participate in a couple of non-emergency management courses for public information training. Something like that.
And
Because either focused.
now on this education here. We have a notation there, managed by the Office of Emergency Management.
The courses are.
Okay.
The courses
Yeah.
are.
See, these courses are all emergency management. Courses, we need to get a non-emergency management.
Well, there's public health, public information, there's public
Right,
information
there.
that we may want to put
Yeah,
out
that's my
there.
point, is there's
Right.
there's training in what is a public
So-
information officer's responsibilities and capabilities. Training. That are available.
So this is under FEMA, but there's a whole public information officer program. It
Right.
doesn't have anything to do with.
Maybe that's the way to say it, and other
Emergency.
public information management program. However, that was stated.
Well, I would just say public information officer training
There you go. As
and whatever those courses are through.
it's expected for them to
Oh,
take
yeah.
a couple of those in the first 6 months of their here, or maybe right.
In the first 3 months, we're doing the ICS The 100,
you know,
200,
get those out of the
700,
way, and then
800.
they can, in the next 3 months, they can go for other public health.
And we got, you know, if we can get the person hired by the 1st of November or sometime in November. We can have a transition from Jennifer Cree
That would help on these other.
to this, so she can get some training, she can get. You know, some of the grant stuff, she can,
And we need to get it.
there's gonna be a steep learning curve for this BOCC admin. Person to a certain degree, depends on. who we
And
get.
Jennifer will be around too, to ask
Absolutely,
questions.
absolutely. All gotta work together. Make it happen.
Okay, so we got a sentence or two now. Copy,
So, I'm sorry.
are you copying any of this?
Yes, so within 1 year of employment, public information officer training, non-emergency.
Yeah,
I was just Googling, so there's this 95/5 program that 95% of all things that come out of a public information officer is non-emergency. So
That's true.
there are all sorts of trainings with that in mind. 5% is emergency based and there's the 95 that's not, so.
So we need to get it, we gotta hit on that because it's important. One of the things we've lacked is people understanding what the county really does. They think it's, you know. I don't think they have a vision of what really happens, and we need to make them aware of what their tax money's doing. Better job on.
yeah, there's all kinds of classes on,
Yeah, there's tons of them.
so.
And I bet you CTSI has them as well.
Yeah.
Or they would.
Well, then they can ask CTI,
Would
we
have
can
it.
recommend they work with CTSI that focus. Because that's what they want to do. They want to help the county.
Mhm, mhm.
But Jennifer would be a good resource too, to go, if this person has very little PIO experience, where should that person start? And
Immediately start with Jen.
start,
Okay. All right, gonna have to pick up 50 pounds. What do you think?
Like a bag of pellets.
They
You can do it.
can feed their dog, they can come to work.
That's right.
Pass a drug test.
I think that up to 50 pounds would be maybe because of the supplies for the custodial.
We need
Yeah.
to change location and commitments. Off
Oh.
page 3. None of that's proper.
No,
Location is,
based in the administrative building.
yeah,
Yeah,
what's the address here on this little building?
615 South Rosita Avenue.
I need a sticky note to put on my computer screen so I could remember that.
What'd you say, 215?
615.
615, Is it-
Back to them.
615,
615 Rosita Avenue. Where did this app come
I'm
from?
gonna write it down, but
Maybe that's what I'm doing. I just made a hybrid.
Rosita, is there a south or is there
No,
an
it's just
east and west, Rosita?
No.
It's just
It would be
Rosita.
east, though.
It's just,
Where does the 100 block?
it's just Rosie. Trust me.
Is
I
there,
work with
is,
addresses every
is,
day.
does Rosita go clear down to the bank?
I think it
And
does.
so
And-
what is that, the 100 block of Rosita? The 100s?
100 block.
Where's 100 start? Does it go west to east or east to west?
100 is in the alley behind, like, where Ched's is.
Okay, that's what I thought. So
That's
it's
actually
going
the-
from west to east.
We
There's
basically.
one house on the 100 block.
And then
And it ends right here
all the
at
way to the
at the-
silver line.
at the line, which is the town hall, basically. So there's no address.
And then then that
Okay.
address, if Rosita continues on there, would start in Silver Cliff addresses.
That's a post office.
Not to be confused by the single zip code.
Yeah. What else? Is there anything else on you?
Can I make a couple suggestions?
Sure.
So can you put somewhere in here, either in this. Either in this part or this
What
part.
are the responsibilities?
About, works closely with clerk to the board,
Oh, yeah,
just so that
Oh, yeah.
that person knows.
I'll do it right under serves as a first contact between the public and the county commissioners and then works closely.
Okay.
Right underneath
Yeah, that's
that.
good point. Must coordinate, collaborate with the clerk.
And then where it's got facilitate Zoom, WebEx and other meeting platforms. I don't know if Jordan talked to you guys, I thought he was going to, about, taking that off of the admin person's responsibilities, because so many times, 9 times out of 10, they end up having a problem and they call him
That's
anyway.
true.
And he said, it's easy enough for me to just come set it up, be done, and then the person doesn't have to worry about it.
Okay, where is it?
That was under performs other clerical duties for the BOCC, including. So like that third bullet point under BOCC admin on the first page,
Third,
almost toward the
repairs and maintains. Oh, almost.
facilitate Zoom, WebEx.
Okay, I see it. Facilitate
Third
Zoom,
one
WebEx
in the
and
bottom.
other meeting platforms. Facilitate Zoom. Well, what does that mean? She has to be able to turn on the Zoom.
But that's what Jordan was saying is that, there's problems with it, and so then she would end up calling.
Right, calling him anyway.
And so he said, it's just as easy for me to run over.
So she not be taught about any of it at all? Then Jordan wants to not be bothered.
No, I think it'd be better. I talked to Jordan a little bit about it. He's got to get it set up and
Teach her how to turn it on and off during breaks.
right, but he's already there.
Do it.
And he's
Can he
already,
do it remotely?
and he's time stamping it all, so.
Okay, cool.
And it, you know, if she's, because if she would be, because I also told him, I'd like a screen put up here somewhere so that anybody that brings a presentation, or if we have documents we're looking
Has to
at,
be online too.
right, we can put it up, they can see it, you know, she's putting up, so it makes sense for him to be time stamping it, so she's not going, oh, wait a minute, I got a timestamp, well, I mean, so just.
Well, and there were times when she would be out of the room making copies or doing something, when you guys would take a break, and then it wouldn't get stopped
Yeah.
or the sound
Yeah.
would turn off, so.
I think we could probably pull that out and then that doesn't preclude her or him from being
a part of
taught,
it.
taught part of that, and so that they can do some of that, but it doesn't necessarily need to be a
Yeah,
requirement.
if this person
Yeah.
is techie,
Yeah,
might not be a big deal.
Yeah,
But, and that,
but I do remember there a lot of times we were holding up starting a meeting because there were issues
Yeah,
Okay,
getting it started, so
okay.
I can scratch that line on mine.
and then on the second page, where it talks about responsible for ordering supplies for BOCC custodial and buildings and grounds. Then it's got a dash, custodial maintenance reports to Commissioner F. I think it should just say to managing commissioner or whatever, because commissioners change so often.
Yeah, that's the way.
You're gonna have to change
Where
your,
was that?
and I've already changed that.
oh, you have.
Mhm.
How did
Oh,
you get?
good.
I must have printed that when I
I know.
made that note.
Okay,
Yeah,
That's a
I
good-
made a note on
okay.
it last time.
all right.
Yeah, I took that off.
Okay, I got another item.
So I was thinking the same thing. That's
Yeah,
why
because
I-
otherwise you're gonna have to change it every time.
So what I'd like to see done. And we've tried to do it, says prepares and maintains BOCC and Board of Health meeting agenda. By the way, that person serves as the Board of Health secretary or what it,
Mhm.
not, she performs the thing, she becomes Kelly in effect.
It
So
does
Board
say
of
that on.
it doesn't, it just
Yeah,
says meeting
right
agenda.
Under facilitate Zoom that we just were looking at, it's got
Serves the
serve as
official-
official recording secretary for
Yeah.
BOH.
Well, then put it up there where the That may be out of place there. Don't you think? But anyway, so she prepares the Board of Health meeting agendas and board packets. The and board packets is said there, but it's important. Down here, it says post all agenda and minutes for the county on the website. I want the board packets be included as people can come in and see what we're gonna talk about. And then that packet ought to be printed if people come in. That's what other counties do. They have a package of stuff and citizens come in, they can grab to see what they're gonna talk about, the details.
Well, it says prepares and maintains BOCC and BOH meeting agenda and board. packet.
Board packets, but it's not posting them on the agendas. When you post the agenda, people say, what are they gonna talk about? It says an item, discuss road right away. Well,
What
there's no data.
about draft documents that are not a final document yet, that
Could be.
is basically not public information?
Well, everything, that's what we're trying to avoid. We want our stuff prepared for us to see 24 hours before, right? Everything we want, we've been not getting them. We come in here and they hand us the stuff when we're here. And we decided what we're gonna do is turn them back and not gonna talk about it. If we don't have the information, because how do you get prepared for the meeting?
Right,
If that's prepared, then that it ought to be final. And that's what we're gonna do. And it's not hard. They got it copied already. Just copy it and post it on for the public.
But draft documents,
Didn't say draft.
well, I said
Fine.
draft a minute
Yeah,
ago.
yeah.
That, my question is posting them on the website when they're only a draft, because they have not been gone through and finalized there until they're a final document. They're not a public document, is what my understanding is.
so you're saying like our interagency mutual agreements and all that stuff that we haven't made a decision on. But when
But that's
we're,
what we're discussing. It's
Right.
public information. It's
When
not
we're-
final.
no, I know, when we're reviewing those here in a meeting. Whether they're handed out with the agenda to whoever shows up or posted during a meeting. Whether it's on the board or,
Right.
you know, whether
Just a
everybody
draft
on the
document.
screen
Until
can
we
see it.
finalize, it's just a draft.
I'm okay with that. At least they have something to look at. At least they're, okay, what
Or
are they
see,
looking at?
because and
right?
the reason is I've gotten a lot of comments. I don't know whether it's worth me coming or not, because they gotta quit their job to come in here. If it really affects them, is it really something that they need to know? If they see it's gonna be something that they care a lot about, they'll come
Mhm,
or not.
mhm.
And it's just courtesy, I think. And they do that in these big other counties. I see it all the time.
And I think, Kevin, anything that's presented in a meeting, whether it's a draft or not, is public information.
Okay, and I'm fine with that. I just, I believe that was actually
We'll probably get it.
commented to me by, I believe by Sam in a conversation I had with him, Sam DiNardo. Like on our audit review, until it becomes approved by us. His statement was that is not a public document until it is approved by us and is not public information until it is approved. And so that's why I had that question.
That may be
So
a
I
different
just wanna-
story because it's the final thing. But I don't know. I even doubt that.
So, so there might be instances where that is the case. But no, I agree. It would be great to have information out there for everyone to be able to know what we're talking about, because a lot of times they are in the dark, and I don't have a problem with that. I think we'd need to make sure there might be instances where, and I can't think of one off the top of my head, but there might be instances out there where that would not be the case.
And we
I just
wouldn't
wanna make
publish it,
sure
and
we're
then we can just
cognizant of
talk
that.
about that. We just wouldn't put it up. But we want everything 24 hours ahead. We just need to dig the line. We're not gonna talk about it. And it needs to be posted first. So.
Okay.
I'm good. And so we need a line in there that says to publish those. And post to board packets. commissioners need to receive them and they need to be posted online, or posted with the agendas. And that, and the same thing with the boards. Agendas. Whatever they're gonna discuss. Anything else?
Now it'd be up to those boards to provide an agenda for her to
Right.
post, or
And
her or him.
they
My bad.
must do that.
I hollered at you all ago and I'm doing it.
Why don't you put the word, well, I don't know, all must be posted. I think the all post, must post all, use the a little stronger language. This doesn't have to be, I mean, other things as required, it's good. So, what's left? Salary, need to talk about that. Is what we agreed to.
It will look nice when I'm done.
Well, let's start there, see where we go, and then see what we get for applications.
Was this, is this where Jennifer finished up? 36,000? What's the salary?
Starting salary per the, handbook is 30, well, it's typically between 36 and 38,000. The starting,
That's what we have on our policies right now.
right now, yeah, that's what we've been adhering to.
We're gonna make her have more responsibility. Maybe it's worth a little more.
Well, you can always start them
The
at
range. Well, we could say in the first 6 months,
well, I mean, if the person came in and it was pretty qualified, I mean, you can always say 30, salary could be between 36 and 38. You can start them at 38 if they're qualified.
then should we publish a range?
Yeah, or anywhere in between there, just
Sure.
depending.
So we don't want to just say salary 36,000, then it would be
No, yeah, we'd want to just range.
just a range right now. It's depending on how they're qualified.
Yeah,
You good with a 36, 38?
Yeah, I'm okay with
I
that,
think that's
not a big difference.
very that's very.
Not big. Yeah, it is. You want to do more or less?
It's $5 an hour difference.
What do you think then? Got any other suggestion? If we're serious about,
I mean, the market's gonna dictate, depending on what we get for resumes in, that could change that.
how many dollars an hour is that? 36,000.
1731.
So it'd be 1831 around 38, right, roughly, something like that. Just $2,000.
What's the minimum?
2,000 hours is.
What's the minimum wage? The minimum wage is 17 something now.
Roughly.
Should it be higher? It's executive admin.
1826. Huh?
What's the minimum wage?
Right now, 13.50.
13 and then. So 13 and this is what, 17? $4 more. than that.
Yeah, the minimum wage will be 14.52 next year, somewhere around there. For the state.
Well, I'd like to get somebody that really wants the job. A lot of stuff they're doing here.
Let's post it between 36, 38. Let's see what we get for applications.
And,
I think that'd be, yeah.
and I hope we get enough. I hate going back twice.
If Kelly, if you need some assistance with the agendas over the next. Until we get this person, I can throw agendas together, just. Show me where I should post them and what I'm supposed to do with those. I can help with that.
The agendas are fine, it's just those agendas that change every 5 minutes, I just get them posted and then somebody. get it posted.
So it might be better if I take those on, because I'll tell them, no, we're not
Well,
changing.
let's see, you could do,
Well, and I think that leads to a question. I'd like to go back to 72 hours. Because 24 hours is not a lot of time
yeah, but that's
at all.
that's a statute.
Well, it doesn't mean. It says that we can
Cause
we can go to 24 hours, but.
you
that
can ask
doesn't
for
mean that
it
you can't do
24 hours
72.
ahead, but, or
72.
72, you could ask for it, but. You gotta be able to allow them clear up to 24, that's the rule,
Okay, but that.
because it
but that-
could need it,
Right, and that would be on our discretion, right?
right?
So.
Yeah, that's why I say we
so-
can ask for it that
Right.
way, there's nothing wrong with
Right.
it.
She's not saying the community's changing the.
No,
she's
but
paying
we
up
are,
3.
but it comes up because it would be a
Right,
3,
right,
and it always is,
right.
so. You know,
No,
Well, I think
I
we've gotten
fully
into,
understand, but we,
It's the 5 minutes to.
the 1 minute before,
9 o'clock.
That,
before you lose it.
And
That-
we've
those
gotten
are
into
the
a
hard
habit of doing that, and I think we need
I think those days,
to work on that to where
Absolutely.
we're not
right,
changing that agenda right up to the bitter end.
unless there's a real good reason to,
Absolutely right.
which is.
And I'm okay with that. I just, it should be the exception, not the rule.
All right. So we got 38, 36, 38.
Yeah.
We're gonna do that.
Okay.
If someone came in and they had gleaming, like the education piece and,
Right.
I mean,
Absolutely. Done this before,
yeah,
came from a different county or
I mean,
different state, whatever.
I think things are negotiable, but I mean, on a budget standpoint, though, it's gonna be tight paying anybody over $40,000 a year.
Depends.
That's my opinion.
Okay. Let's see what they do. What else we got? I know it's pretty good. Is a skill being able to complete a task within a deadline? Is that a skill?
Yes, it is a skill.
Yeah,
Some
right.
people just can't do it.
How do you prove you have that skill? See, a skill when, you know,
A question to ask to prove that was, tell me about a project that you're exceptionally proud about. Like, what have you done? And for me personally, timelines are, well, they're essential. We have to make timelines, but we had, 6 months to get this implemented and I was proud because we got it implemented in 5 months or whatever. I mean, I think it's
or a
hard.
recommendation you could go to. a
Yeah, you can always, that's exactly right. That's when you can check with references, but. Some people in my work experience, some people struggle with timelines because they think they're gonna get them done. And then they get sidetracked, and then before you know it, it's time to get them done, and then it's the 11th hour, and they might pull it off, but that's
that's
just
good.
that's just gambling. I mean, ugh,
I don't have any other information.
time management skills.
No, let's put it out there. Let's see what we get for applications and
Get her in.
if it adjusts,
Quick as we can.
we might have to.
So where is it going? We're gonna get it to all the
We'll
papers?
put it to both papers and get it online, and where would you, other than that, where would you like to put it?
Cases we've gone to. Websites. Go out of town, out of the county.
Yeah, why, open
Got
it
you.
up, see
Yeah.
what- see what's out there.
And then, how long did we want to run this? So if I get them in this paper.
3 days, get them in here now.
2 weeks.
No, not 2 weeks, we
2
got.
weeks?
Yeah.
Okay. 2 paper cycles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so running the paper twice, Okay,
So it's gonna run this next weekend and the weekend after that, then we're gonna close it. Pick a date, closing date, the middle of that next week.
that would be, we're already in November, so the first week of November, let's say,
Midweek.
close of
And
business
give
on
time to put
Thursday.
something in even off the last.
See, the second paper ad is on Fridays,
Okay,
so
it's
that
a
would have to be
Thursday,
given
Friday.
time to see it.
Okay,
So
so,
middle of next week, Yeah,
like,
following
let's say
Thursday.
November 9th.
following Thursday. Okay,
Yeah, I like the night. Into business.
Oh, I can either. Okay.
Are you good, sir, or do you need a break?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure.
Please. I need to stand up.
Okay, we'll take a short break.
this is good, this will be good.
No, Kelly, if I can help you out there, let me know, that would help you, especially coming into the next 2-3 weeks, I should be able to type up agendas.
Steve, when's
Yeah, next week it will. Or the next 2 weeks.
when's the CPI meeting?
When is this?
Yeah, was it? Did you just put it in?
27.
27.
Yeah, so you got.
November. November.
I All right, the time is now 10:27 a.m. I will reconvene this BOCC meeting. And our next item on the agenda is the discussion and consideration of splitting finance HR director positions. And you guys, what do you have in front of you at this time?
I have the Director of Human Resources. I think this is the one that,
That's just the one that I,
So there's a director of finance, director of human resources, and there is the director of finance and human resources.
Okay, so I guess we need to separate them first, so I'll move that we separate two positions. HR and creative HR and finance positions separate.
Would you like to discuss it some first, or you want to?
Us, we can go discuss it after.
but I'll second the motion, I guess, and then we can talk about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do have a motion on the floor to separate the director of finance and human resources positions. Discussion.
Okay. Go ahead.
I think, we have training that needs to be conducted. You know, we talk about training, so we need, I see this person really starting to help us with what's the unlawful harassment classes that we need to start taking, all of us, all employees. What are some other HR ones, helping with, assisting with our hiring, no matter what department it is. And then, our discipline process throughout the, an employee's, time here, or.
We're talking about all the required training, like sexual harassment,
Right,
those kinds of
all
things
of
that are
it, right?
required by every.
Yeah, what's coming down, be up on what the state statutes are, what's changing on that, how do we train our employees so they are at the latest and greatest of what's coming down the stream from the state, or just what's going on.
And then being on top of the requirements to meet their jobs. The performance reviews and other criteria training, and
right.
would be required yearly.
Right. Help me just.
All the
in
managers.
my position over custodial, if that is a female. I don't want to, in a day-to-day conversation, fine, and job duties. But when it comes to performance evaluation, when it comes to disciplinary review, or whatever it may be. I need somebody to help.
Yep, and so
And
does every department
Just
head,
me,
every department head,
any department head that they could possibly use.
or
it.
any manager.
And this is a person that could maybe help every tax district we have. Come up with policies, procedures. All the special tax districts out there, other than the school, but, they all need HR help.
that's
Um,
kind of.
in some way, shape or form. As to. Okay, the county's got a policy, I can go to the county and I can say, hey, how did you deal with the situation? What's your? What's your,
Well, we don't want anybody suing anybody over something that could have been prevented, whether it's in our district or not. And if we have the ability to help another, like the clinic or somebody else, that's fine.
EMS?
Until it gets to be too much.
Right.
Then they could pay for the service.
Right, I'm not saying
As
do it,
well.
do it for free,
Right.
Once a policy is written, that's, that could be easily shared and.
Sure, or counseling
Right.
service.
And I don't think it'd have to be just. You mentioned, if that employee was a female. And you're, a male,
Right,
that doesn't necessarily have to be that particular situation. I think it could be no
swap,
matter who is in that, well,
Right.
or
Yeah.
even male and male and
right,
female and
absolutely,
female. I think just having HR for that second set of eyes and ears and for verification. In any of those interactions, I think.
right,
Would be good, and, you know, we specifically look at certain ones, but I don't think it
no, you're right.
needs to be just that, so,
I think
and, I've been kicking a lot of different things around, because of the whole thing. I mean, I've been in conversation with Sam DiNardo. Because he's not sure, you know, one thing, and you can take it whichever way you think on this even, that we may need more than 2 people in the HR finance department. So if we split it out, that takes some of the load off of the current department. But there's also been conversations to where some of the HR and the finance are blended
Mhm.
to where they have to work very closely together, and how does that look? And so do we want to split them and make 2 totally different departments? Or do we want something that hit my head this morning was, as well as, do we do like title like what we've got now, which is Director of HR Finance, and then we've got I guess right now your title is Assistant HR Finance, correct, Jen? Do we have a Director of HR Finance, and then do we have a Assistant Finance and an Assistant HR? And then we have one over both of those because they do work so closely together. Throwing that out there, I don't know, I'm not hardcore on either direction, but I think it might be a good point of conversation.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, I hear what you're saying, and that has been thought through, or. I guess I'd like to see Director of Human Resources for us and Director of Finance. Split apart enough that. One's under one commissioner, one's under another commissioner. And yeah, there's probably a little overlap, or there could be overlap with some of our,
going on. Blizzard.
with our finance,
I'm
with
sorry.
our benefits program, because some of the. You know, in a big company, you don't call the finance department when you have problems with your health insurance or some of your other fringe benefits. You call HR, you call human resources. So I don't know, and I'm not saying we have to divide it out that much. Those here in Custer County are so tied in with Lisa Bivens or the finance department. I don't know if separating those out would really benefit.
You mean, you could, I mean, you could give, health insurance, you could give retirement. Any other type of benefit to an HR person. But then. That being said, that person's gonna have to really know the finance side of it as well, because. For instance, our insurance is going up 13%. They're gonna have to figure out how to. If they're gonna do it separately, they'd have to go into CIC and go in the back doors and figure out where you change all the pay rates. They're gonna have to go into all the personnel and change all the pay rates for the deductions. I mean, and that's a good 2 weeks worth of work. Just to adjust health
Right,
insurance,
right.
so, and then if they make a typo and let's say they're supposed to be taking, 1754 out for vision, and it was 1654.
Mhm.
Then when audit time comes rolling around, you know what I mean? So it's gonna have to, that's why it's so close.
Yeah, no,
Because
absolutely.
whatever they do, they'll have to be micromanaged by me or somebody else saying, making sure the numbers are right.
Mhm.
That's,
So. So a little history, I think I've talked to Kevin about this. um, When Donna. Was still working for Debbie, which was the previous county clerk. She worked in her office, out of her office, doing accounts payable. She handled just accounts payable. Then when the previous county administrator retired in 2009, he did HR. And so Donna took on that position of HR, because they didn't want to hire that out. And then when John Paquette retired as finance manager, she also absorbed that position. So she actually absorbed those three positions. So I think it's great to separate out HR. I think that should be a separate position. But why couldn't you, if you did that, why couldn't your assistant also be, instead of just the finance assistant, she'd be finance HR
Agreed.
assistant? And that's how you would handle that, the finance part of those weird little.
right, the nuances, yeah, and that's why I kept that job description as finance and HR assistant. Because I was thinking futuristically, if this happens, then we'll have someone that will be versed on both sides, that will know the processes on both sides. And let's say the HR guy or gal had a packet of a new employee. They'll give them to Jen, she'll enter them all in, get the finance piece together and the personnel piece together. You'll be the bridge. You'll be the glue.
Really, do you have to change that job description then, right? Because that's what it is right now, right?
Right.
Uh,
Well,
So, but yeah, so that, I mean, I've thought about that as well. I mean, so you do, but that's why it's so intertwined.
Mhm. It is, it's.
would that be? By splitting these roles, does that take? Enough. The performance reviews, the onboarding, the training and all of that, enough of that goes away to where. Finance, and I'll ask you specifically about finance right now. To where that can take place adequately with. One full-time person. And a part-time person in that role.
Well, it's one more person than I've ever had. I mean, so it was always
Well-
two of us. So I mean, a third person would make a difference.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think we would find out at audit time if if we were towing the line, if we were getting everything in a timely.
Well, I think we'll find out more from San Bernardo tomorrow as to what's gonna take and what's, I mean, cause he could probably give us a fairly good, I would hope, a fairly good timeline of it's gonna take you 6 months, it's gonna take you 3 months,
It's
right? What is that okay, does that mean we need outside contract help, or does that mean that, and so I'm hoping that, and I think he would be able to give us that information as to, no, you need a whole nother person, or no, you just need somebody for a year. Whatever the case may be, I don't know.
well,
I mean, it's speculative at this point because it's not just this department that's been understaffed for so long. People have been absorbing this job, like Kelly said, forever. But then there's this culture with all the other departments that have really never had to toe the line the way that they're supposed to be.
Right.
And so it's not gonna be a quick fix, and it's not gonna be a fun fix for a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, because like I had told you guys, you know, probably the first staff report that I had given, it is important to me, and it's my goal to be in compliance with any kind of an audit, to know exactly what each department is doing and why they're doing it. It's so much deeper than it's ever been before, and I think that's gonna take time, but I think we can get there, I really do.
Well, and we may have to go to, this is how we're going to do our finances, and you're gonna have to change, the departments are gonna have to change to that.
Oh, they're gonna have to, there's some of them that are gonna be hit really hard with some changes,
Yeah.
because it's a lot of the errors that we'll hear about tomorrow for the audit. Just not taking the time to see where money's being taken out and spent.
Mhm.
That's laziness, or it's just you're in a hurry,
Right,
you know, I mean, you're just not
Right.
taking the time. I mean, it's like
Right.
you've got to look at it how many
Right.
times. And so, and you know, like for me, I would go through every time there's a batch of, you know, bills that come through, and I'm going through before I print them all. A lot of the stuff, you know, let's say use the sheriff's department or like public health, people that have grants. That's where this is gonna be coming into play. I don't know what those grants are. I don't know what they can spend that money on, so it's really hard for me to know if they're allocating that money to the right spot.
Mhm, mhm.
So that's what I wanna fix, just getting a grasp of what they're doing, why they're doing it, is this the right way to do it? And it might make them mad, but it doesn't matter, at the end of the day, it's this, we have
Yeah.
to.
Well, and as we get our BOCC admin in, and she is administrating those grants and going,
Oh,
okay,
that's
this
gonna be a
grant's
huge help.
been approved. Here is, she goes to Lisa, and okay, Lisa goes, okay, it says this, these are the two areas, these are the two places you can code this to. And that's it,
Right.
it doesn't go
Right.
anywhere else.
Right. Yeah, no, that is gonna be a factor.
So that
too. That's
helps
gonna
you
be
out
help-
too.
That is gonna help a lot. So I think for now, 3 people would be a blessing. It's always been 2. You know, 3 people would be great.
Right.
And I think we'll just kind of have to watch and see,
Mhm.
you know.
Well, and if we add the grant administration part of the BOCC, now you've got a part of a 4th
Yes,
person to help.
another set of eyes.
You know, depending on how you're looking at that, it's either 3 people or it's 1.5 people. Because if you're talking strictly finance,
True.
Right.
you're 1.5,
Yeah.
and then strictly HR, it's gonna be 1.5. But as your role is now, it would be 3.
Just, yeah.
So.
But I mean, if
let's see
that HR person was, you know, doing all of the, you know, let's say they get somebody in and give Jim the packet and say, okay, let's get him put into CIC, and that will help immensely, you know, just I see a lot of positive things that could come out of this.
Well, I think personally, it's mandatory that HR is separate, period. That's critical, based on several things, the problems we've had so far, the lawsuits that we've had. Time to fix things, to counsel people hadn't been done yet. Needs to do it. I think that's a full-time critical position to have. Also, I think the finance department is critical to be separate also. And because look at the findings, look at the things that we have learned from the team that went and did the research. We've got findings that haven't been fixed for years. Yet
Right.
Sam's been carrying them. And I think it's critical you have a finance person focused on that.
Mhm.
We gotta get fixed.
I agree.
And so I think the 2 full-time positions that you've got are right, and an HR position separate is critical. To bail us out of it, keep us from getting into trouble, and to bail us out of the trouble we're in now. and come past where we are. We're stepping into, like Kelly said, we evolved by picking up things that we never did before.
Right.
And it's gotten to the point where we're bigger now and we need to be,
Can't do that.
can't do it anymore. So I'm all for separating them under two commissioners. I think that's the right thing to do. And we can talk about that later, but I think we need to take that first step and break them apart. Keep it clean, get both of you need to be trained up. You both do. Cause it's hard in a small town, you can't pay enough to get probably the best of everything you can get. We got the best here now to do it, to train up and move forward.
And I have to tell you, between the CGFOA, so that's the Colorado Government Association, Officers Association, the training that they offer, and then CTSI, which is our insurance, offers learning lunches with finance and HR. Things that you could be, things that we'll have you look at too. But I mean, it's just that
All right.
there was a lot of
Right.
training.
Let me try one
opportunities.
other thing. I don't think she has to be HR. In any job I've ever had in the government or in the military or in industry. The finance is finance and they do financing for all the departments. So you're doing the finance for the HR department. You're gonna do whatever's required, the benefits calculated and all that. But I sure don't want you training up Glenn to go do some counseling or do the other things like performance reviews and
Oh,
doing all
sure,
that kind of
sure.
stuff. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But you need that liaison. You need to tie it together. And then you've got the grant administration. That's the other piece of the finance that helps. We really need to strengthen this finance department.
So that being said, so we'll create an entire new department then.
Yeah, because
Lines,
absolutely,
no salary
That's-
lines. Okay.
that's absolutely, because you want to make it, and then you train correctly the way you need to. And the HR department is gonna have that tie in across to make sure everybody's paid and if there's other glitches.
Right.
But we
If you
need
leave
to,
the finance part of the HR to you, then it wouldn't get messed up.
that's right,
Right.
that's right.
You
And
just work with that person.
she needs to
Yeah.
focus on
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
nuts and bolts of CIC and whatever you need help
yeah.
on.
To a certain degree, she's becoming the new payroll clerk. I mean, to a certain degree that we used to have.
Yeah, payroll and AP for
Mhm.
sure.
With still that finance and budget part.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a big
and
job. And we gotta have, whether we're stamping checks or whatever we're doing, we gotta get the policies in place. We need to organize it and get it corrected. And we're gonna learn that from Sam tomorrow. And we got some help that they're offering. I got people that we can help get started going.
So am I hearing here now, because I want to make sure I got my mind wrapped around it. And I know you want to have your mind wrapped around it because we're talking about your position here too now. Am I hearing you say that it will be on finance, director of finance, and then an assistant director or assistant to finance,
Or my title or whatever you want,
and not an assistant to finance and HR?
right?
And so then
So if
HR would be
HR
just the
need to
director.
be- If they would have to hire their own assistant,
If he
the
needs
work-
an assistant or
work-
she,
The work was enough, yeah.
but
Yeah,
that HR
So
job is.
at the present time, so then your job description, Jen, would change
Just to,
from assistant HR finance or finance HR to just the assistant finance. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah.
I want to make sure I'm understanding what we're talking about here.
that's a fair assumption.
Okay. Now you have a look in your eye, sir.
Well, I'm just contemplating with that. Because for so long in my mind, it was to kind of help both
Initially, it'd have to be,
I can get behind that. I mean, yeah, initially until we have the director of human resources here, they are doing both.
Not to throw a wrench in there or anything, but. So what if the HR director walks out the door and gets hit by a bus,
That's
that's in the hospital for,
see, same thing would be for Lisa too. That's, take one bite at a time. If the most critical position right now is finance,
I agree.
everybody's gotta get paid. And if you get sick, you gotta have somebody as smart, and that's gonna, in order for her to be as smart, you gotta get trained up.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
then focus, doesn't mean you do everything. It means you're enough to be able to keep the wheels growing. HR is gonna be the same way, but HR is not initially, because we get the policy set up, the process set up, and if the person gets sick, unless there's a critical thing happening where they gotta go to a trial or to whatever. But that's a little more easily adjusted without an assistant than this is.
Well, Lisa came in last month sicker than a dog to run.
I mean, it was hard. Think of that.
And
I mean,
Yeah.
it could have been,
I was
we
sick.
could have missed payroll.
It wouldn't have never happened. I would have had to been unconscious.
Well, that's what I mean, but that happens. That could happen.
No,
And an
I know.
unconscious HR
but
person
it
for
was, that
a
was
couple weeks.
terrifying. I mean, that was not good.
So I still like, the position that Jen would be in as still as an HR assistant, because,
It can be.
Temporarily
maybe, but
because what I would like to see is, you know, if I'm a female employee, and let's say our HR director is a male, hey, I'd feel more comfortable if Jen was sitting in there with me.
but we got around that in industry and in military by having two people.
Mhm.
Well, and we can
And that's
definitely
separate,
do
whether it's
that.
two males or two
Right.
females, that's the
Completely-
right thing to do.
Completely understand.
I
that.
understand where you're at.
But if she's in that role, then it also means that she's either maybe taken some training or taken some classes that HR director has said, hey, I'd like you to take these so that you're
You could do
ready.
that.
It's one person that's part of these cases that, yeah, if he is hit by a bus, or if she is, or whoever that HR person is gets sick or takes a vacation. We have somebody that's,
Yeah.
okay, yeah, I know what's going on.
In the
I
past,
agree.
but see, look how it was when Donna did it all.
Right.
And she was gone one day to go on vacation. She didn't go on vacation. She
Well,
didn't,
that's
she worked over the weekends.
That's part of our.
That's
problem.
why we need a full-time,
Oh, I
eventually,
agree.
we're gonna have maybe an assistant in HR too.
Well, and so, yeah, and until, so in lieu of what you were talking about, Lucas, so if. Let's say Jen was going to be cross-training, kind of being like. I don't know, just, helping whenever.
That would be okay.
Will that HR then, I'm assuming that HR department will be supplementing.
Right, absolutely, right, it'd have to.
but I think especially now. If we're gonna be breaking this out now and. Which is what we're talking about doing, I think I would agree here that. Having the dual responsibility, because that goes into the cross-training piece that we lack so much here too. At least in the short term, and then
Yep.
if it looks like we need to change that and go with an assistant to finance, and if it totally, we can make that move.
So that would be
But
good.
at least here. In the short term, I kind of like the idea of having an assistant to finance and HR, because. You're bringing in a brand new HR person as well now. And they're not gonna be up to speed either, so we need to get.
You have to be very careful to
somebody
define
to be able to
that.
help out there as well.
You're not training up a full-time HR person. Here, it's an assistant that would help gap if that person that's full-time is sick or on vacation, so they're stepping in to take phone calls and do set up appointments.
Yeah,
You're
99%.
definitely not an HR person.
Right, 99% of her time is finance.
That's right.
And it's just one of those, yeah, I hope you help because you.
And that would be
you need it
okay.
Or whatever.
But it has to be then weaned off, and we'll see how the HR department stands up after we get a full-time guy in there, or girl.
So what would that look like? Expenditure wise. Between the two departments.
Well, if it's 99%, it just, it's there to help out if needed, and it's only as needed for.
Take track of some hours. And
We would need to make sure that there was adequate budget in the finance to be able to pay that position. And with the understanding that they would be sharing that.
And then you can absorb it later with more responsibility of finance only.
Mhm.
That would make the pay
A lot easier to handle.
cleaner,
Mhm.
Yeah, keep it separate.
Mhm.
as long as you guys weren't having to draw lots every day to see who got the assistant.
No,
I don't see that happening. So big a deal. I like it.
You've been awful quiet, I know, and this is your first day on the job.
There you
Do
go.
you have a comment on this?
No, Lisa and I chatted about it, just bouncing around ideas and stuff, and the finance aspect for HR is mostly payroll,
That's right.
not anything else, so that would be like help with the benefits and stuff. Getting your retirement and your insurance and stuff done, that's really.
Which
all
would
that
be a
HR is
full-time
going to
thing
see.
anyway.
Mhm.
Always with HR. We always with finance to do.
Mhm.
And have her, worry about
Mhm.
filling
It's like
in
in-
for an
in
appointment on
industry and
HR or
other-
something.
And like
If-
school districts, you have your HR and payroll is one group, and then finance is separate because you have your accounts payable, accounts receivable.
Mhm.
And the purchasing departments, that sort of thing, when you break it out, but when it's as small as this. And also like with the school where I was working prior, in the same sort of position. You kind of have to blend them together.
Multitask.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, splitting up HR from finance would be. I think beneficial on this level. But for me, I can definitely assist both departments until we figure out if we need someone else.
Right, with that.
That's what I was having prior.
Well, thank you for that, but it does affect you greatly, and I know you were aware that there were some changes possibly coming when Lisa reached out to you, so. But it does affect you, so I wanted to hear your input here as well, so.
So I think we've got a pretty good plan. We need to break it. We need to go to it and work on the job descriptions.
Any other discussion here at the table then? I would ask if there's any public comment before we call this vote. I know there's no one in the room. I'm not seeing any hands online either. So I do have a motion on the floor. To split the HR and finance departments, making two separate departments, one being finance, and one being HR. And I guess we didn't have that in the motion though, so that is the motion on the floor.
Yeah.
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And per our discussion, I'm going to assume
They'll take
that
on the HR.
that they will share the assistant at this time until circumstances would dictate otherwise, and then we can revisit that.
That's
Perfectly reasonable.
So, and I suppose then with that, I would lay that on, right now, there's only one director in place, but I would lay that up probably on the directors to be able to work that arrangement out.
Between HR and
Unless there's a problem that needs to come to us.
Well, I would say that our direction would be the focus is on finances, because that's, and get it through this,
Same.
correcting our audit issues.
I think we can do it. I really do.
And.
Okay,
Good deal.
good.
I've been through this job description on HR, looks good. The only thing I would recommend taking a look at before we put a motion on the floor, is qualification. HR resources, experience or degree preferred, I would say required. Not, and maybe a degree preferred, but the experience for sure,
Where you at here now?
qualifications on HR, back page.
So experience required, degree preferred.
Yeah, you can't get somebody in there and say, oh, you're gonna be HR, go learn it.
They really need to have, I mean, and I did a lot of studying on this while I've been rewriting this, or creating this job description, and Siri Wenzel, the HR specialist at CTSI, even told me, and I knew this, but she just confirmed it. In order for you to be an exceptional HR specialist person, you have to have the degree,
Yeah,
because the law is changing constantly. You need to be up on everything. And they have to maintain that certification. I believe there's an HR certification that is like, I want to say it was a 2 to 3 year without having a bachelor's degree.
maybe so.
I think there is, and so that would be, you know.
Yeah,
Excellent
we-
as
we
well,
got it.
I mean, just,
If they've got 20 years of HR experience. That can substitute, but otherwise, the
They
new
have
stuff
to-
coming out there, they gotta
you
be
can't
HR.
just wing it,
Well, and I would say that if so I would agree. A degree is required. If in a month. We have applications where nobody has a degree, nobody's willing to
It would
take
be
it
experience
for
that would drive it.
right, then we could go based upon experience.
That's why you say experience, how do you say it? There's a way that says acceptable length of experience will. Meets the requirements for
Yeah.
degree, or
Mhm.
however you wanna word that, but
Years of experience could be.
there's a name, there's a word.
Could be substituted for degree. Something like that. I know
Would
there's-
count toward that requirement for the degree, or and that would be up to us to accept if it's a high enough experience.
Yeah.
That we would hire them.
You know, I know that there are people around here that have had extensive HR experience, let's say in the military or in a public sector. They retired and they have not maintained their
certificate.
credentials, and so to me, that would be someone who would be really worth looking into,
Then
because.
they could give a good bone up on the statutes or whatever.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
it would just be like taking a reciprocity test when you're,
Yeah,
you're-
good. We gotta get that up high enough that we just can't take somebody and just because
Yeah, I
they're
agree.
warm and breathing and we.
I agree that, I mean, because if you really want a successful HR person,
And they
That's
are
what it's gonna
critical
take.
too, because the lawsuits and the human. Just in the loss of people that you could keep if you had a right guy
Right.
giving advice and
Right.
counseling and keeping people on track so they don't get. To where they quit
yeah,
or get fired.
yeah, that's true. That's true.
That's the only thing I saw that you did a good job of pulling this
Oh,
together.
thank you. There was one piece in here that I think I might take out, unless you would like to keep it in. On the first page, the third bullet down, I just simply said supports director of finance as needed. We can take that out. If you truly want it separate,
No, I agree.
I do.
okay, then we'll take that out.
That would go under the assistant then.
Yeah,
Good.
Um,
No, I think it's a good. What I So what I have in my mind is wanting this person to do.
Me too, and this is what, when I worked for a district of 2,000 employees, that is the type of person we had.
Yeah, he passed
Yeah.
2,000 shoot.
Mhm.
I'm going through these bullets real quick, so.
Put a salary range on this one too.
No, not, and that was what we wanted to talk, I wanted to talk about as well. So I just put it down at 58, that's where I'm at. However, and also I thought that that may be something that we could swing as far as budgetarily.
Too.
I feel though that, there are some people that might, considering where we live, that is a good pay.
I think it is.
But in a big city, someone's gonna be making 120,000 for this
easy.
job.
Easy.
But I don't know if you wanted to make a rate of pay between, 55 to 58 based on experience, or just leave it at 58.
Leave it at 58.
Okay.
My view.
And then one other thing that I wanted to mention too, and the performance reviews. Would it be fair to say that this position is subject to periodic performance reviews? Conducted by the Board of County Commissioners?
Yes,
Okay.
managing commissioner would take it on and then bring it to the board. Just like we've been input from the
Because of this position. Do we want to see something in there along the lines of, great, it left my head.
join
Let me
the
tip it back the other, oh, that's the way it's been tipped. Confidentiality.
Mm,
I think that is
mm,
this person needs to be able to possess the skills to keep confidentiality because of the position itself, because there's a lot of personal information.
That's right.
You're dealing with employee conflicts, you're dealing with lots of different things that there needs to be a lot of discretion.
Every elected official, right? Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, so I didn't, that's why I was going down through all of that to make sure that I.
Where would you want to put that under
I'd just be,
qualifications?
Well, you put it, it's, the
Or
person must
maybe-
be able to perform in a very
So basically,
confidential
maybe just,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe, the essential function of this position, put it in that
ability to work and
beginning paragraph.
confidential, yeah.
Yeah.
That's-
it needs
that's
to
right,
be-
in that
I think
beginning
that'd be a
paragraph.
good spot to put it, because it doesn't really fit the other
That's right. It
headers.
works in a
exactly.
very confidential.
And that goes for a lot of things. That includes your department. I don't know if it's in that department either. Because, we don't want you running around or you, Jen, saying, well, golly gee, do you see how much so-and-so's making and these other guys are only making.
Well, but that's true, but that's public information. Anyway.
Well, yeah, yes,
All-
it
every
is, but
wage
by the
is published.
same token, there needs to be discretion.
Well,
there as
yeah.
well. So you're not stirring that pot. But point taken, that is public information. That was what I pulled out for an example that.
Yeah, I get it. I understand what you're saying. It is a highly confidential environment, that personnel.
So keeping highly confidential matters intact and treating each issue with integrity and discretion.
Good enough.
That's exactly what I said, only different words. Hush.
I'm not, didn't say a word. I thought a lot of things.
I made the motion on the last one. You want to make a motion on this and I'll have the honor of second, or I'll make another motion.
Why 58? Do we need to pay 58?
We can discuss that.
There's no magic in 58. I just
No,
felt it was lateral, so that was where I came up with, but
Yeah, I got
there's a
you.
better number.
I think that's
Do we
pretty
have
good
a
spot.
range that our other department heads have been brought in at?
Oh, 55.
In the 50s.
Only reason I've said 58 was okay is because a little bit above. A few bucks more than 55, and it's more of an eye attract, sort of like 19, or was it $4.58, 0.9 for gas. I think 458. So
Right.
that's the only reason I said I'll go along with 58. Worth it.
It's closer to that.
All right.
60.
Then we ranged the last one, so do we want to go ahead and range it?
no, I'm good.
I'm
with it.
good.
I'm good with it. So yeah, I'll make the motion
With
that we go out for, or that we accept this,
Through this job
for
description.
this job description and start this position within the county and post it.
at the 58.
Yes, I think 58.
I'll second.
Okay, so I do have a motion on the floor to approve the job description as amended here today and to post this job description at the pay rate of $58,000 annually. Further discussion here at the table.
Just one question, what's introductory period 6-month meeting?
You know, I really don't know. That's always been on those job descriptions.
I don't know that it needs.
I
to.
believe that's,
We
We didn't put it on the.
it's like a
It's like-
probation.
I know it's like probation,
It's the probationary period.
but they can always.
The qualification certifications, let's maintains continuing education.
Yeah.
Most likely they're going to, but they'd be good.
Maintain, require to remain. Certification.
To maintain continued education and certification requirements.
As required. Or as, yeah.
And did we say that we had changed that from the degree to required but not, and not preferred?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, degree required, but if your experience
How did you word that?
is
I
enough,
said human resources experience required, degree preferred.
And then we can base it on that
And
requirement.
then we were looking at. And that's on this, I thought I was looking at a different spot here, so.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the only one that we were requiring a degree. Unless you have acceptable.
Like a HR.
yeah, and I didn't.
Yeah, why don't you
change
reword
my
that?
copy. That's
Degree
why I
is
was asking
required.
about it again, so.
Unless
degree
you have,
required or
unless you have acceptable
extensive experience.
extensive experience. Then that's up to us to decide whether that would substitute it or not, that experience would be a little easier, but,
Extensive experience or training
right.
and training.
So we made one more change That's the motion, and that was just the maintain your education, correct?
Yeah,
Certifications that as required.
Do we want to amend that motion, or we said as amended here today, so that would probably suffice. Okay,
She's got the change.
anything else here at the table?
that's right.
Here we have a motion on the floor to approve the job description for the director of human resources. And to post that description, that job description at the rate of $58,000 a year. And I would open that up to public comment at this time. Nothing online. Okay, those in favor of said motion signify by saying aye.
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 Hi,
Motion carries. So that would mean that we would now need to go over the Director of Finance job description, since we have split that off, you gentlemen like to do that?
We have it?
We do have a separate one with Director of Finance here.
I'll quick bring it up.
I believe that we're gonna have to make a new county policy as well. Because at the present time, we have, even though they're spelled totally different, we have way too many Jens, Jennifers that work for the county, as well as Christy, Christines, Christinas.
And Alexis and Alexandria.
So
They're all over.
I believe that we need to make a new policy on that, because, you know, it is very easy to get messed up and call somebody.
Just gotta make up names, like I call Virginia Teresa and she calls me Jamie, and so it's fake names.
So what is this job description? Is it?
That's my current job description right now.
Okay, so we're gonna have to fix that. Maybe we ought to,
Well, I took all the HR out of it.
not really. It's supervisor roles, HR finance assistant.
I'm supervising over that.
Okay, but I thought we were calling her.
Oh.
Okay, so we would scratch
She's your
HR,
We're
finances.
taking that- Oh, gotcha.
scratch HR off of that
It's just.
supervisory role.
It's took off right now.
Yeah, and yeah, you got the,
Well, wait a minute. Would we scratch that because the assistant is maybe we should just flip that and make it finance/HR assistant.
no, okay, I'll tell you why. Yeah, we separated a minute ago, and down here, she's got in there, support human
support.
resources director is needed.
Yeah,
Which is part of the description.
Yeah, I gotta take
You
that,
know-
because I did it in both.
So you leave that in. You want
Because,
that person, you want to be able to, no, it's with her that we're talking, yeah, so you're gonna take this out,
well,
because her description has the HR piece in.
well, we need
Yeah.
to leave the description in there, because if I'm an employee, I'm wondering, why is the finance assistant sitting in the HR office when I show up, right?
Right.
It should be very transparent to every employee what
Yeah, that's right.
this position.
So this position has the finance job, right,
and,
for all of it.
Right,
but her supervisory role would be over the finance/HR assistant, which is still currently what Jen's
I
title
thought you
is
had
at the
changed that.
present time.
What's her new description?
I hired.
I know you hired her as an HR finance.
Yes,
And when we
And-
broke it apart a minute ago,
It was, we
Still
let
have her
we
do
were
it
gonna leave it, yeah.
We left-
Oh, okay, we're gonna
left
leave it.
Jen as
Yeah.
HR finance
for
assistant.
now.
Unless
yeah.
the HR
But
director would need.
If you want to put the emphasis on finance,
I flip-
why don't we flip flop that to finance / HR
Yep.
assistant?
Yeah,
So,
because one of us commissioners could sit in there with HR, but if they don't want an elected official. In there with them, and I
They could take,
completely understand that.
Yeah.
This is the person that's always
That's
gonna
fine.
be in there with. The HR.
That's the one that
director, whoever it
the
is.
finance department's gonna send over to do HR stuff.
Right.
Whatever that is
Absolutely.
now,
Absolutely.
but the supervisory role would be,
finance,
the
HR.
bulk of the work
Yeah.
will be for finance. The
Correct.
supervisory role would be over
Yeah, good point, Kevin, that's
this
perfect.
person.
Yeah.
Essential functions under the direction of the board.
I think it's good.
Trying to capture everything that I do.
Sometimes required to drive off-site locations, what does that mean?
Site visits when I start doing monthly, like over to public health,
Oh, you
or, when I do,
working with, you're just gonna work with all departments,
yeah,
wherever they
yeah,
are.
well, I'll be doing like the finance, implementing more finance training with all the departments too,
Okay, yeah, it's not just sitting in a building.
right?
So. Good. Degree in accounting. Credit card is preferred. I think we need to say is required. Here as well. The experience is sufficient. Make it be the same as we do with HR at least.
Okay,
Because that's one of the things they have on that's what. You need because it's so critical, accounting and
No, I agree, Same with HR director, right?
Yeah.
Finance director should have an accounting degree, but
if they don't, years of experience can substitute or whatever, it's good. Let's do that. Cut and paste.
So would it be under finance to enter all new employees into the Colorado new hire portal? Or is that under HR now?
no, that's.
That's still your,
Yeah,
yeah, and that will be something that we'll just kind of have to work out, because they'll I think we'll share that file. HR director will have that packet. They'll do what they need to do with it, and then they'll hand it over to us, and then we'll put it in the CIC.
Right.
and the ninth bullet point down on the front page, you'll remove that one as well, because that's the opposite of what you had on.
Yeah.
what's her providing her, the assistant
Yeah,
to HR as needed, would that need to leave or?
I took
yeah,
that,
you
took
took
that
it off on the,
So which
on her.
ninth, what'd you say, Lucas, ninth bullet?
ninth bullet
That's the
down.
Provide support
for
to HR.
human resources.
Oh, yeah,
as Needed.
I took that out, yeah. So,
We kind of talked about it and leaving it together and more combined is that HR director's role would be able to, if Lisa was out, they would be able to slip into that role, but we need to keep it separate. So.
Yeah.
well, and with the with the capable assistant or assistant director eventually, maybe, who knows?
Right,
We're taking that equation out of there, so.
no, good thought.
This is.
Mhm.
So that would be through the HS. But what I do employment verifications and fill out their salary for the last couple of years and make sure it's taken out by commissioners.
So when you're not talking past a 6-inch radius, does that still qualify? I'm just referring to like a month ago.
Yes.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself.
Oh my gosh, that was so bad. It was torture.
I just was checking because that was in there.
Yeah, and under performance reviews, your performance reviews would be by the county commissioners as well.
Right.
Correct.
And so for this position, do we want to have the same confidentiality stipulation in this one or not? Little different than HR.
It is a lot different. It's everything that we do is transparent to everybody. The only time confidentiality would come in would be if someone had, well, like recently where we've had to look into people's paychecks, but even still, though, that's public record.
Yeah.
You know.
It is, so.
Just, like with any job, I mean, we could put something in about,
Well, every
just
employee that's
resume.
hired is hired with the expectation they are honorable and are gonna uphold,
Well, sure.
Yeah.
And also too, another thing, I provide 6-month and yearly pay schedules to the papers. So they can see.
So then you also conduct your own performance evaluation on your own employees.
sure.
Yes, it would,
And the HR is accountable for making sure they're doing it.
Yeah, everybody's done.
Number 9 bullet points been removed. We flip-flopped and made it finance/HR assistant under supervisory role. And then added by the Board of County Commissioners to performance reviews. Any other changes?
And then under qualifications and certifications, probably we did in there maintain within the continuing education, whatever.
As required.
Anything else? Okay, I have a motion on the floor. I don't have a motion on the floor for this one, do I?
Yeah, you do. Oh, no, we don't.
You want-
I move we accept
to make-
the BOCC finance director job description as discussed.
I will second that motion. So we have a motion on the floor to approve the job description for the director of finance as discussed and amended here today. Any further discussion here at the table?
No.
Okay, I would open that up for public comment.
I don't know how to raise my hand here, but I'd like to raise my hand. This is Lenarigo.
All right, Lynn, go ahead, sir.
Okay. Is it my understanding that for the HR or for the finance director, that you said they don't require a degree in accounting?
No, we didn't. We said they require a degree.
Okay, okay, that's all I wanted to make sure that, because I really feel strongly that whoever gets that position really needs to have a degree in accounting plus experience. And the reason I say that, governmental accounting is much different than corporate accounting, and you really need to understand that.
That's right.
Thank you, sir.
You bet.
Anyone else? Okay, seeing none. Those in favor of approving the job description for the Director of Finance as discussed and amended here today, signify by saying aye.
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 That motion carries. All right. Any additional items of business here today, gentlemen?
So now that we've split out finance and HR, kind of, sort of, we'll need to realign those under commissioners.
Let's do that at the next meeting. Then we need to have an, we've been wanting to do this in that's next week. Isn't it?
No,
31st.
is that next week?
Yeah.
Already?
Tuesday.
Just a week away. Yeah, I think that's a good thing. We need to,
Tomorrow.
let's realign things, get it under the right people, and let's go. Good point. Time's flying.
You know what? I really don't like that every old person told me, every mature person told me that just wait, time will start flying faster as
As the older you get,
as you get more
Christmas,
mature.
used to be Christmas took years to come around.
Now, now it's like,
Wait a
we're
minute,
talking about
Christmas?
Christmas presents already. What
Well,
happened?
the media doesn't help. They start advertising Thanksgiving or
I saw Christmas.
Halloween in July, and they go
During the football.
Christmas in
So
July.
we were,
Macy's.
It's crazy. Used to be the big deal on
Just right
TV
there.
was the Macy Day
Realign.
Parade, and then it was
Realign.
Thanksgiving. I didn't even
that
think
would
about
be
it.
so.
Saw those floats.
October 31st, right? 30th, 31st.
31st.
So that's what you guys are wanting is
Is that a
October
Wednesday or a Tuesday?
31st.
That's the agenda you want me to start working on first?
Have we seen that agenda yet? There's nothing on it yet, is
There's
there?
nothing.
No,
Realign,
that's good.
Um,
Maybe she'll train me up on that one.
Here's how you overload an
We'll see if
agenda.
commissioners can do it.
the realign.
I don't know, I better not do a very good job, otherwise the community is gonna be like, we got Lucas doing it, why do we need him? Because.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was like, oh, he's the county manager.
So for the October 31st agenda, realign managing commissioner list. Okay. Anything else?
See, now tomorrow we got, what time is that meeting with Sam's at 9?
9 o'clock is what I have on
And
my
where is it?
schedule right here.
Here in this building?
Yes, sir.
Is it a workshop?
Yes,
Or is it a
I think it's a
meeting, special
workshop. I
meeting?
think that's what I saw.
Yes.
Okay. And
And I just had 9 to 4 on there. I didn't.
I don't know why I had it, I had it at
Anything
3 to,
else?
one time I had it 3 to.
I have a 1 o'clock in here.
You have one.
If we're done, if we go over, I can reschedule that one. It's with
Okay.
Patrick, as a matter of fact,
Okay.
Someone look at the calendar.
and then I have a 4 o'clock in Canyon.
Yeah,
So hopefully we don't go till 4 o'clock.
4 o'clock here.
Yeah, you just put in all day, basically.
Yeah, I just figured that's pretty important, so however.
Yeah.
When is that?
The budget hearing or
What day?
the audit hearing tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah, I've got it. No, you said it's 9.
I just put it from 9 to 4 because I didn't know how long it would take, so.
Shouldn't take, I think probably half a day, maybe. But no, it won't take that.
I think it'll take a couple hours.
Couple
And
hours.
I think that's what he said was.
Couple
It should
hours.
only be a couple hours.
Okay,
Okay,
all right.
let me change this.
Any other additional items of business? Okay,
But hold on just a second then. What was that email I saw about West Cliff lots or Silver Cliff lots? There are a lot of them for sale. Did you see that?
That was the
Oh,
email I
yes.
sent out about the, because I got that, another bid from Nick and Maury.
Yeah, no, I sent that. I'm talking, well, that, I sent an email, said they have it in. I was gonna go get the rest of the details and get Chuck Rorick's signature again. To say he's not interested in.
So the question I had is, how many of these lots do we have? Should we be putting them out for bid?
Well, the question was, yes,
Right, I
And-
mean,
did we decide to sell anything?
and
you know, we haven't decided. That's what
What-
they were gonna, they
I guess-
just asked to have it brought in again.
I guess what do we have?
Well, here's the issue, the reason I bring it up. Those lots are out there on their east of Copper Gulch Road and north of 96, okay, by Round Mountain.
Oak Grove or Oak Creek.
Oak Creek Grade, I mean, not Copper Gulch.
So east of Oak Creek grade and north. of
North, so they're
96.
all there on that corner.
Okay,
Those are the lots that mix in, and all those have no septic, no electric, and not ever able to get it in there. And no, you know, that unless they develop Silver Cliff somehow.
Hmm.
So those lots, I don't know what Nick paid
Those are
last
the
$1,000.
lots, I believe, that we had allocated when Jared was the BSO officer
Yeah.
for veterans,
Yeah,
for him to come up with a plan for veterans housing for those lots.
and then the plan would have to include developing the resources in the sense then Round Mountain said they're not gonna put any new taps in. And a lot of things happen.
okay.
Those lots are not very worth much other than to build a shed on, which is what mixed them. The other lots are other lots, a lot more than that list that are down there that are desirable, that we could consider. Putting them up if we want to go on, you know, go have an auction or
Right.
whatever we want to
Right.
do, but we need to take a look and decide what we want to do.
Is this the same couple that bought another lot?
Yeah.
About a month or two
Yes.
ago? Or
And the only reason he's decided, they just told me that they want to buy the whole block. There's 10 lots to the block and they own 3 already.
Okay,
And the rest of them, he's in his sealed bid, he said he sent. He didn't say 500 each, he put down whatever he thought was reasonable for. the
yeah, I
whole
was just
total.
going off of what the old one was.
Yeah, so I don't know what the bid that he's got that's sealed, but. So I was gonna get Rorick's signature, the only person that borders him is Chuck Rorick, because he has the land out for pasture for his
Yeah.
cows, and he's bordered in the BLM, so he uses the whole BLM in his place. So that's the only one that would object to it right now, and I'll ask him if he cares about the rest of the lots that are bordering that.
So do we wanna? I think that might entail a discussion or something to see if we wanna go ahead and keep those as, because we did,
That's why I was bringing it into the board to decide.
yeah, we did. Designate those lots for veterans housing. Granted, we now have a new VSO director and his roles have changed. If we wanted to keep it towards that, I think that would entertain discussions possibly with Mount Carmel because they're taking on that role.
So that's why I want to bring it in and we'll just take a look at what he wants.
And then if we don't want to continue with that, then do we want to sell those lots and everything? So
Okay, we
because,
have that, we can make that decision.
yeah, because it just seems strange to me that we got a sealed bid on something that we hadn't even talked about selling yet, so.
Well, I was, because it was the same block, it impacted Roy, so I told Nick, send it in so we can discuss it. So we can get it on the table.
So. And then, yeah, and then do we advertise or do we just go with it being a lot more than just that half a lot, do we advertise it out or do we
Can
do it
decide not
like
to
we
sell.
did last time with that half lot? That they own the other half too.
Okay. All right,
So that's his proposal.
Uh, So do we want that on the October 31st, the discussion?
I
on
think
that?
it, yeah,
I
think so, right?
let's wait until I make sure I can get Rorick's decision on one way or what, or real irrelevant then.
Okay,
I'll know in time. I'll go try to work it.
Okay.
Before those.
So-
Yeah, I got time to do that. Huh?
Well, and if we.
Let's temporarily, let's put it on the
yeah,
agenda.
72 hours before that.
Let's-
agenda.
Let's put discussion on
Well, put it,
how many lots are there, how many,
well, I'm gonna put his request on the agenda and then that'll open up the discussion on all of them. Then that way, if we decide not to go ahead and do it, we don't have to have a separate meeting to give him to sell it to Mick.
all right. So did you get how that needs to be worded?
In a roundabout way.
In a
Yeah, just put
roundabout way?
on,
It sounds like discussion of,
same as we did the last time. We put it on. Discussion of selling lots 5, 6, 7, and 8, 9, 10. And block 126, I think it's something. Let me look. It's 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 of block 126.
1 through 6.
126.
The lots 1 through 6.
Yeah, 1 through 6 of block 126.
and I believe
All
that
seven.
would be included in that map that was at Silver Cliffs meeting the other day in regards to their zoning change.
Yeah. Correct.
But I believe there was more than 6 lots right there. In that triangle. I think I saw more like a dozen in there.
Where was that triangle that they had before?
Yeah. Cause it's just east of where the tipple sits right there now,
Oh, yeah.
at the sign for Silver Cliff, right?
One other lot. It's 7 lots total lot.
Cause this is.
Nick owns
right here, I think, taken off, right?
Oh, yeah.
So then there's 10 in the
So it's
block.
these lots here, anything in Orange is county,
Other than what Nick owns.
and these are the ones that we had designated for best housing.
Yeah, that's a lot of lights there.
Yeah, there's a lot more than 6, so I'd like to see which lots those are, 1 through 6. So, yeah, if we need to get a map of what those lots are.
That's why
because
I do it the
there's-
same way I did before. You saw.
There's 20 lots right there, 25 lots.
Yeah, I know, but the
Yeah.
block contains 10. So
block
it's
contains
block
10.
126 is what you want.
Establish
So
that.
you see block 126.
This map doesn't have it on it.
No. And then you can-
It's right on the border of Chuck Rorick, if you can see it.
Let's be Chuck Lawrence.
Oh, it'll
Yeah, if you
be,
could get a map.
it'll be just like we did before.
That we could see.
That's why I wanted to get it now over there on that way out.
But it says in there that experiences.
He's got a sign.
Anything else in today?
Negative.
No, sir.
All right, I would open it up for public comment at this time. Being none, I will adjourn this meeting at 11:47 a.m.
Just by a whisker, we made it before noon.
Yes, indeed.
It's a miracle. Just kidding.
No, we're. Well, welcome to the team. See a round of donuts in our future.
Yes.
I'll give you the cost code for those. Commissioner Bill can.
Give you his credit card number.
I told Lisa when she said that she had hired you, I was like, well, what happens to the donuts though? You can't take the donut lady away.
No.
No, they'll still be there. I just have to.
The chat, and I didn't see it till just now.
Still, yeah, don't worry about it.
1365 is the minimum wage this year, 1442 and 24. And then she
Okay.
said Denver is higher.
Oh,
They, does sound like they're going into pre-evac.
I saw it, John Price at.
One neighborhood.
What's the fire doing now? Is it, well, that wind has come up.
The wind.
Wind
the
really
wind,
came up just.
They're 56 acres now.
We are at pre-evac.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing that we're 1.9 miles from the county line through the fire.
Yeah.
As of